What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update for Sunday, August 25th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the pandemic update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a health threat to you, including air quality reports, pollen levels, and all of these things that, can affect our health and have an impact on our lives. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple COVID stories, COVID and wastewater, and I may briefly mention long COVID as well. Then I'm going to share a few things later in the video about how I'm preparing. As you may know, I'm getting set to go away for about a week and a half or so. How I'm preparing to have a COVID-safe trip, so we're going to take a look at that. If you're new here, subscribe down below, give this a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share these videos with anyone you know, and of course, leave your comments down below. Alrighty, back to school. It's in session. Tomorrow, one of the biggest school districts in the country will be going back to school. That's right here in my own city. Philadelphia School District will be starting school tomorrow. We need to do it safely, and The Hill has an article saying that health experts warn against COVID complacency in schools amid surge. That's right, there is a surge that is continuing to go across the United States. We're on the backside of surge. It's starting to show signs of dropping now, but the ages that are being infected with COVID are going to switch to school children. It's already been happening. There's already been some back-to-school outbreaks. You can see here on my website, I've already archived 5 schools. And I imagine as time goes on, more will be added. When we head to the winter, there'll be more added in the winter as well. And there's some things that we can do to help keep children and teachers safe as well. Number one, if it looks like your child is sick before the school day, please take one of those at-home tests if you can. And if you really want to, you don't have to. I recommend you should, but if you want to and you feel your classroom is unsafe for the child, make sure they're wearing a mask. I know some people don't want to hear me preaching that, but the mask does work, and you just don't know. Not everyone is going to test their child before school. I mean, there could be COVID or other illnesses do spread in schools. But something else that I think is the most important, teachers have wish lists, and a lot of COVID cautious teachers have wish lists as well. On their wish list, they may have Corsi box or air purifier. Hey, clean air in the classroom works wonders to keep the levels of infections down, pollen levels, and bad air quality. Remember, some kids do have asthma. Well, if we have clean air in the classroom, guess what? It makes it easier for them to breathe, and they have a better learning experience. And remember, when it comes to COVID, children can get long COVID as well. Children can deal with an array of symptoms. So if you're thinking, well, if my child catches COVID, it's fine. No, it's not fine. Your child can go on to develop long COVID. This is not 2020, where many people thought, well, kids can't get COVID bad. Kids can. Moving on now to Japan. Japan's weekly COVID-19 cases decrease for the 3rd straight week. This is some good news. Yes, their levels are starting to drop at this point, which is some really good. The number of newly hospitalized COVID patients reported by about 500 designated medical organizations nationwide was 3,619, or roughly 15% lower than the previous figure, and it looks like infections are down by 20% at this point. Heat-related illnesses here in the United States, they're still a thing in the east and in the west, slightly better in the north, and I think we're going to start to see these decrease from north to south, but places like Iowa and the Great Lakes, that may persist for a while because they are dealing with some hot weather right now, but in the northeast, it's only not going to be hot that much. Wednesday's going to be a hot day in the Mid-Atlantic region. But after that, it is going to cool off nicely in the Northeast. So hopefully we can get rid of some of these heat-related illness problems. National Allergy Map. Yeah, this is not good. 39% of the country is in medium to high status. I recommend if you're anywhere in the red or the orange, take your allergy medicine. I'm going to take mine today because look at this. I am right on the border of red and orange here in Pennsylvania. And we can see the West Coast is not too bad. Pacific Northwest, I'm happy to report there is some green and yellows. Remember early season, you got hit really hard with those pollen levels. Taking a look at what is going on with air quality levels across the country, and you're going to see a lot of yellows and oranges in the east. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, this stems all the way back into Minnesota and the Dakotas as well. Want to learn more about climate and weather? I've been talking about a hurricane hitting Hawaii. I did a couple tweets on that this morning. Yes, that is a real thing. Let's actually refresh this because those are not my latest tweets. My latest tweets are right here. Yes, you can see here, flash flooding is occurring on Hawaii Island. Yes, one of the islands. So, yes, that is significant. It's climate data report, and I'll be tweeting quite a bit on here when I'm on vacation as well. Taking a look at Philadelphia, or hopefully, we're recording really early today, so sometimes on Sundays they don't update till later on. I'll retweet the number on my X account later on. Let's do a live look in at Montgomery County. We can see there are a couple strokes. One in Cheltenham. Ooh, that's actually not far away. One in Lower Merion Township, and yes, I do see respiratory emergencies showing up as well. Chester County, Pennsylvania, does have a sick person in Highland Township, and a few calls for other things as well. Alrighty, before we get to today's wastewater report, I do want to share this with you. These are some things I'm going to be taking with me on my trip. Of course, COVID tests, and no, not this box we use as an example here, but I will be taking COVID tests with me just in case. You never know if you're going to need them. You never know if you're going to start feeling unwell, or you need to take a test for precaution, whatever the case may be. Aranet 4, that is going to be coming with me because I want to do air quality checks I want to see what the CO2 levels are. You know, like maybe a rest area along the way. I'm going to try not to have to use rest area, but I probably will. I do have a spot in mind where we're going to be doing the Monday edition of the pandemic update for tomorrow, and I'll probably give you some air quality reports in case your travels take you along the same path as me. Of course, masks are going to be coming with me. I'm going to be bringing a whole slew of masks because everywhere I go outside of being at my relative's place, you know, like the grocery store, or wherever it's going to be, I will be masking. And of course, hand sanitizer. That's something I'm taking as well. I know a lot of people, well, heck, the CDC says it. It's very important to wash your hands, prevent the spread of viruses. Well, no, COVID, it's actually more important that you're masking up because, as we all know, COVID is an airborne virus. So those are just a few of the things that I'm taking. Haven't decided if I'm taking a air purifier with me or not. I think I may actually I have a little one downstairs. I probably might even take that with me as well. And they might already have one up there. I don't seem to remember. But moving back here to wastewater. That's what you come for here on Sundays. It's something we do each and every Sunday, and we're going to dedicate about 10 minutes right now to wastewater. First off, Walgreens this week, the positivity rate was 37%. We'll get an update on that either tomorrow or Tuesday. I don't know what the recording schedule is going to be over the next week. As noted, there will be days that are missed. And when we do eventually record, we'll catch up on all the things that we do miss. Canada, take a look at this. The viral activity level in Canada is high at this time for COVID. Flu A is low. Flu B is not detected. RSV is low at this time. All right, let's get over to this lovely wastewater map from the CDC, which has a sea of orange and red at this time. Yeah, we don't like that. In fact, right now there are a total of 1,270 current sites reporting wastewater data. And out of those 1,270 sites, what do we come up with? Very high levels of COVID across the United States. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks we can get that down to at least high. I mean, we got to start getting this down because these levels are just far too high. And you can see here, we see a little bit of a slowing, then it tried to rise a little again. Yeah, and it's being delayed because the KP 3.1.1 variant plus back to school is doing its thing right now. New sites, there are 51 of them. That's in the white. Those dark blue sites, that's very low levels of COVID. There's just only 13 of them. That's totally ridiculous. Light blue, 86 of those, 279 really light blue sites, and now we're in moderate levels, 486 of them. that are near moderate to high. Now we're into very high levels, which is red, 80 to 100% COVID detected, 355 sites. And just looking at this map, let's zoom into North Carolina. Look at this. Almost all of your sites in North Carolina, except for 1, 2, 3, 4 sites, are red. That is totally ridiculous. And let's click on some of these. Here we are near Greensboro, going almost straight upward. Look at this. The majority of them are going up, up, up. And I do know North Carolina has been starting to come in with lower cases. So I question, is this data a little bit outdated? And when we look at the chart here, no, it's still saying about on or about August 20th. So I hope we start seeing a peaking here soon in wastewater. Here's one that is dropping in the western portion of the state. But my friends, that is not good to see. Let's go up to the northeast. There's a scattering of orange. More orange up here than red, and there's also a lot of light blue sites. I think the most light blue sites is in the northeast region. Let's take a look at New York City. Take a look at this. Some good news. You're starting to see some dropping here. You're seeing some more significant dropping showing up. Let's take a look at this red site, Kings, and a little bit of a right arm showing up here, which meaning it's not really dropping that much. Queens showing signs of dropping. Richmond starting to drop. Overall, New York City at this time is starting to drop. This is some really good news, and we already note that the coloring is starting to come down. Taking a look at the state of Maine, we're going to look at Maine in wastewater scan in just a moment, but I got to show you what is going on in New Hampshire. Look at this. New Hampshire this is near North Conway. So, I mean, Labor Day weekend's coming up soon. This is a major area where a lot of people are going to go and, visit maybe Mount Washington. Well, COVID in these areas is running high right now, and I gotta remind you that COVID and wastewater in parts of New England is not telling the whole tale. There's a lot of places. I know where I'm going in Maine, for example, where I'm going. It's not connected to a sewage system. So, if it's not connected to a sewage system, wastewater can't detect it. If it's septic tanks, which a lot of places, summer places, have up there, septic tanks, yeah, it's not going to show up in the wastewater system. So levels could be higher than detected in wastewater, and yet here we are, New Hampshire, we're seeing levels significantly going up, which is not a good thing. Here's another one, Sullivan County, New Hampshire. Wow, that is really going up at this time. Grafton, yeah, that's going up as well. How about Vermont? We'll do Vermont here, and Vermont doesn't really update all that well on this site. Now moving on further southward, let's go down to the southeast. We'll take a look at a few sites here. We can see here Florida at this time. Again, this doesn't always update, but here's one in Orange County that was dropping. Now it's starting to rise a little bit. Is school in session once again there? I know Florida does schools differently, like 6 weeks on or a few weeks off, something like that. We can see Atlanta, yeah, still signs of rising a little bit. But for that, we'll have to take a look at wastewater scan. I do want to take a look at a couple places here that we cannot do on wastewater scan real quickly. And that is right here in Arizona. Maricopa County is, once again, starting to rise. That's not good. Coming further south, yeah, we're still seeing some problems in Arizona. And of course, we have to go up to the state of Washington. And I want to be fair. I want to get these areas that I don't usually get. We can see here, yeah, things are starting to drop, but there's still some red showing up in Washington. You can see here Island is starting to drop a little bit. Now let's go down closer to Seattle, King County. This one's rising. That's still rising. That's not good. But there's another King County, Pierce, which is 896,000 population, and that wastewater site is dropping at this time. Thrust in, Pierce again. We can see they are starting to show signs of dropping. Jefferson is showing signs of dropping. Oregon, what can I say? There are still some rising sites, but let's take a look at this one that's light blue, Lane County. Okay, so that's peaking. That's good. Here's another Lane County that's dropping. And you can see some of these counties are starting to drop. Douglas, yikes, you're not dropping it. So there is still some work to be done in Oregon. I hope it's just a product of data being lagged, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Utah, I'm not even going to click on these sites. Look at all these reds. Yes, there is a lot of work to be done. Let's just click on one that's orange. Here's some that's dropping. You know what, let's just click here. Good news is they are actually starting to drop at some of them. Some of them are starting to rise once again. Here's one, Utah County, Utah. And then we come over here. We'll do Illinois we'll do Chicago through the CDC site today. We can see Cook County. Yeah, it was starting to drop. Now it's leveled off a little bit. Again, schools are starting up. I mean, it is definitely going to be a problem. Alrighty, moving on. We can take a look at wastewater another way. We can take a look at it on this map. We can do averages. Like, for example, 23 wastewater sites put together in Colorado equals a very high level. When you go over to California, 42 wastewater sites equal, once again, a very high level. Coming over to North Carolina, 33 sites reporting, you get a very high level. You get the idea here. There's still a lot of places that are very high. Some are moderate. Michigan's moderate. West Virginia's moderate. New Jersey is now down to moderate. New York State is high, almost moderate. So it is dropping in some places. Mississippi is high at this time. Taking a look now over at Wastewater Scan, and let me refresh this. We're just only going to do a couple wastewater sites on Wastewater Scan today, and we're going to do the national first. Let's see what's going on the national level, and we will do all viruses. Nationally, it does show COVID is starting to drop. This is some really good news. RSV nationally, it's starting its slow and steady upward trend. Influenza A, Influenza B are still low at this time. HMPV is low, norovirus is low, and I should mention that though RSV is starting to rise, it's very low levels at this time. In the Midwest, we do see here that levels have been continuing to rise. There was a wonky movement down. We'll have to see if that gets corrected. RSV is low. Influenza A starting to rise. Influenza B is low. HMPV is low. Norovirus is dropping slightly at this time. In the Northeast, we do see that levels, yikes, there's a wonky movement upward, but levels have leveled off a little bit, and RSV is dropping some, Influenza A is dropping, Influenza B, HMPV, norovirus is low at this time. In the South, taking a look here, levels are starting to drop slightly, RSV is low, Influenza A is dropping, Influenza B, not much of an issue, neither is HMPV, and norovirus is medium at this time. In the West, we do note that COVID levels are medium, but dropping. There's a wonky movement upward. That will get corrected. RSV is starting to see a rise. Wonky movement upward, which will likely get corrected. It's still low. Influenza A, B, HMPV, all low. Not a major issue yet. And norovirus is dropping, but a little wonky movement upward, but it's still coming in at a high level listed on this map. Alright, let's go up to Maine really quickly, and taking a look in the Portland area, we can see here in Portland, Maine, levels were rising. Now in the most recent update, it shows that there may be a drop coming soon. That's a good thing. Let's go down to Florida. Remember, we couldn't really look at much of that on the CDC page, so let's take a look here. In Florida, we do note that down around Miami area, things are starting to drop at this time. Let's take a look at Disney. What is going on at Disney at this time? Are levels continuing to drop? What's the deal? Wow, yes, levels are dropping at Disney. And let's go out to California and see what's going on there. We're going to do a couple checks in California. We'll go out to San Francisco, taking a look there. We can see levels are still high, but they are dropping slightly. And then we come down, that's for COVID at this time. And then we're going to come down to LA. We'll see what's going on there. Oh, you know what? We should have looked at Mpox in San Francisco to make sure there's no more detections. Take a look at this. COVID is dropping in Los Angeles at this time. That's some good news. And we do see there are no detections of Mpox at this time. Let's go back to that San Francisco site really quickly. And I do want to take a look at the Mpox situation there. And maybe it is the other site that we have to look at. Look at that. There was yet another detection on August 16th. And let's continue to the east. Let's take a look at Ohio real quickly, if we can. I want to see what's going on in northeast Ohio. We can go up to Akron, Ohio. Let's see. COVID levels are still high, and wow, still rising. They are really high there. No issues with the other viruses at this time. Hepatitis A is showing up slightly. And let's also do a final check now. This time, Youngstown, Ohio. Youngstown, Ohio is dropping somewhat. Little wonky movement upward for COVID, but it's also still coming in at high levels at this time. RSV, Influenza A, Influenza B, not much of an issue at this time. HMPV is low, and norovirus is low and dropping at this time. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update. We'll have another Pandemic Update again tomorrow. I do intend to have an update tomorrow. Just a quick reminder, Over the next week and a half, there is going to be some missed days. It's not going to be every day. We may skip some days. Wastewater Sunday will happen next Sunday. CDC update next Friday. Of course, we'll have an update that day. I'll advise. So, if I don't do an update, there's multiple ways to find out what I am saying, and it's really easy. The best way is over on X, formerly known as Twitter. Follow me at COVID Data Report. I do tweet there daily. I'm going to be tweeting there the whole time. You can also go over to my website, and remember, it's free to sign up and become a member. It is datareport.info. Want to find something? Because I'm going to be doing works on the archives quite a bit while I'm gone. I'm going to actually have time to do that. So I'll be working on that. Datareport.info. It's a wealth of information. Of course, I will see you all again tomorrow. I think that spot is either going to be Massachusetts or New Hampshire at that point, which my ending point is going to be in Maine. We'll have the new BNO numbers. We'll have a couple other things. I'll have one of those out in the wild updates with my notes. So I will see you all again tomorrow. Until I see you again tomorrow, stay safe, everyone. Have a fantastic Sunday. If you're new here, subscribe down below. Give this a thumbs up. Hit that notification bell. Share these videos with anyone you know. And of course, leave your comment down below. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you all tomorrow.